Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan Chat, live again. Just waiting for a couple to join and then we'll get back in. Oh, well, let's see. Let's have a chat then. If someone's online, let's see who it is. Yeah, I hope you guys have been sticking clear of that rain. Absolutely abysmal. Hi Mukund. Hi Mukund. How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Hope you enjoying some nicer weather than we've got in Manchester. It's absolutely atrocious here. It's been absolutely terrible weather. I went out, I had a little bit of work to do, and managed to do a little bit before it got really, the rain got really heavy. But it's been horrible. So what can you do? It's been like this all June, and just don't know when it's gonna stop. When we're gonna get some better weather. Global warming having an effect with wetter summers. Excuse me, but it's been absolutely horrible, this weather. But it is what it is. We carry on. English Mastiff, hi Ray. How you doing, buddy? How you doing? English Mastiff not stopped all day at Urmston. That was down your neck of the woods. I dropped my wife and kids off at Trafford Centre. My kids are going to that Lego place over there, and I think they're going to Aqualife or whatever it's called, Aquaworld, SeaWorld, whatever it's called. They go on there as well. And I had a little bit of work over in near Altrincham, so it kind of worked out to drop them and go over to do my work and then come back home. I empty the car because we're going to go out for dinner, so I'll pick them up this evening and then we'll go out for dinner somewhere. Get my missus wants my kids to get their hair cut. Then we'll probably go out for a curry or a kebab or something with the kids. So at least they'll have a good day, even though the weather's not been nice. So I hope you guys are having good times too. As I said, I hope you're staying clear of that rain. English Mastiff, I don't generally do the Trafford Centre. I might occasionally go to the cinema there because it's got a nice cinema. But it's not for me, especially in the afternoon. I was driving past on the M60 this afternoon, and they were queuing from miles away. I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely, it's not my cup of tea. Occasionally, there might be an odd shop that you really want to go to. Sometimes I want to go to John Lewis, and as I said, the cinema, and it is a good meeting point from people who are from all over the shop. So it's about half an hour from where I am, so it's not so bad. But I really don't want to go in the afternoon. I really hate that. So Mukund, is that the thing, Ray? What they call it, global warming? Yeah, I think it's global warming. Gabriel, how you doing, buddy? Where are you from, Gabriel? Your name is Gabriel _33. I give you a shout out. I think 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? I was giving shout outs. Your name is, and your username is homage, I think, to Gabby Jesus, English Mastiff. Bury Market. Yeah, Bury have done really well. Bury have done really well where they invested and developed their town centre when other bigger places were at that stage had more appeal, like Bolton. They did nothing. And Bury basically took over. I got family up in Rochdale. They go up to Bury. People from Bolton go to Bury. I think the idea was to stop people going from Bury into Manchester and to other towns. And now what's happening? People are coming to Bury. Rochdale are apparently spending tens and tens of millions on their town centre redevelopment, but they're going to be behind the curve. We'll see what happens. Mukund, it's rainy season here as well. Got a couple of buckets ready if the roof starts leaking. Yeah, it's not fun when your roof leaks. Trust me, I had a problem with my roof for about 7 or 8 years, and every so often it starts leaking. And I think I've had 4 lots of people around to try and work what problem is and fix it, and no one's managed to get to the bottom of the problem. And sometimes we think we've got it sorted, but it starts leaking again. So it's absolutely frustrating. Gabriel's down south, but Daddy's from Manchester. Fantastic, mate. Spent a lot of time down south. I said a couple of days ago, I've been all over the place. I've been I used to live in Guildford, lived in Tooting, lived in Hayes, which is near Uxbridge, lived in Huddersfield, Liverpool, Leeds, a lot of time in Oldham, all over the shop, and obviously nearly 10 years in France. English Mastiff, Jesus Nutmeg Bolivia class, yeah, in Lovebury Market. Yeah, it was excellent, you know, fantastic. So guys, I want your questions. I've had a few questions. I'm just checking to see what people have sent me, put it out there so people could tell me. Wants to talk about the goalkeeper situation at City, and someone wants to talk about Jack Harrison, just to get some more information about what his situation is and trying to get some concrete information about him. Guildford's not far from you, Gabriel. Well, as I said, I used to live in, I lived in Guildford. I lived in Merrow, which is just outside Guildford, near Burpham. Probably lived 10 days in Burpham as well, while I was looking for somewhere longer term. And where else do I remember? I don't remember. Walking, you spend a lot of time around there. I got friends over in, I used to live in Newell as well. I lived 2 or 3 years in West Newell, not far from Epsom and Kingston. I used to work in Kingston. And yeah, so all over the shop. Still got friends in that neck of the woods. Some mates living over in Addlestone. Aldershot, Hampshire. Yeah, it's not far. It's not far from Guildford, absolutely. I used to do some work. I did some work for a client in Alton, which is in Hampshire. So it's a small world. English Mastiff, can't see City playing the Maguire fee. Nah, I can't see it. And if Leicester are asking for more than 70, I don't see City doing that. If Leicester are asking for 80 and 90, you know, only club who's going to push that far is going to be United. So I can see him going to United. Hopefully, the guy who said I was too close to the screen yesterday, I'm all right for him now. I'll shut down the road, yeah. Gabriel. So I'm not too, hopefully I'm further away from the screen. And you don't get this big nose plastered across the screen. So we've got 7 on, 6 likes. Fantastic, guys. So let's get cracking. Let's talk about those 2 questions that have already been posed, because today is just questions and answers, really. There's not been any news out there today, really. It's the same old rumours about Rodri and about Tongi and Bailey, Maguire. You know, it's all rumours and speculation. Nothing has seen any of those stories move further down the line. So let's start off by talking about the goalkeepers. You used to play for Ash United. Where's Ash? Ash rings a bell, but I used to play for a team in Guildford. I used to play for their second team. It's quite fun playing Saturday leagues. Quite enjoyed that. And when I lived in Newell, I used to play for a team in was it in the Kingston League? I can't remember now. I mean, I'm going back mid-90s, mate. I'm going back 25 to 30 years when I used to live around there and play footy there. So yeah, let's go on to the goalkeeping situation at City. Well, obviously we've got Ederson, who after his first season at City, we bought him for about 36 million. He got awarded a 6-year contract. 6 year, that's it. So he got a 6-year contract. It did Ederson, and yeah, he's been fantastic. He's cool as a cucumber, unbelievable, and he plays. You know, he opens that game up for us, because if teams try to press us, he's got that ability to waft his magic wand of a left foot and dink it over out wide, put it 70 yards long to one of the forwards. I think, if I remember correctly, he holds the world record, which he achieved, I think, last year for the longest goal kick. I think, but it wasn't in a game. It was, but he saw that. Gabby, yeah, for what he does for us, Ederson's the best in the world. There's no one like him. And I think Bernardo Silva said, I mentioned this yesterday, that Ederson can play defensive or holding midfielder, because you know his left foot is that good, and his passing is very, very good as well. But he's our number one, and I think he's no one's there to challenge him. Hi, Brian, how you doing? So yeah, Ederson's our number one, clear number one. Because of Ederson being at Angus Gunn left, I'll mention him. He's a very, very talented goalkeeper. We had him on loan, sent him on loan to Norwich, where his father was a goalkeeper, Brian Gunn, and a manager in the past. A lot of his family connections there. and then we sold him to Southampton. Now, we sold him to Southampton, and for about 12 to 15 million quid, because he was never going to get through at City. So last season we started with Bravo in goal. He got injured, I think, in training, and he was basically out for the rest of the season. So we recalled our Muric. He was on loan at NEC Brady. He played one game, a 3-0 victory. So he left there with a good record, one clean sheet out of one game. And so we recalled him back to Man City. And Suaro was our number 2 keeper. He played some Carabao Cup games last season. So now Bravo's fully fit. He's got 1 year left on his contract. And standing back, looking at the bigger picture, Aaron Muric has to go out on loan. Okay, there's no way he can play another season as number 2, because this is stunting his development. He needs to go out there and play football, men's football, first team football somewhere. So the rumours are that, as I said yesterday, that he'll go to Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa have been interested. Any of those teams I'd be happy with, because he'll be getting, if he can get first team football, that's the important thing. He gets a lot of first team football. That'd be great. Hi Sky Blue, how you doing, buddy? I'm very well. So that's Muric. I expect him to go out on loan. Danny Grimshaw, expect him to go out on loan. Bravo would be ideal coming back as number 2, because he's 37 years old. He's not desperate to improve. He's happy with his lot. He was happy with his lot. This first season Ederson came. He'll be happy playing cup games and standing in for Ederson if he's ever injured. And he's not. We don't need to develop him. He's already there. So I think he'll come back as number 2. Zach Steffen. Well, let's talk about Zach Steffen. From the information I have, the City agreed to sign him in December last season from Columbus, SC Columbus or Columbus Crew, Sporting Club Columbus, or whatever it's called, the team in the MLS in America. So we signed him, and he's 24 years old. And I think this is important. Zach Steffen is 24 years old. Now, that's unusual for City to buy a young player at that age. Okay, if we're going to buy a player in the 20s, in the mid-20s, we'd be expecting them to play, generally speaking. So Zach Steffen coming in at 24, initially I thought ideal to go as a number 2. But the more I thought about it, Claudio Bravo's better off as being number 2. And Zach Steffen actually may well be better off being loaned out. And the rumours are at the moment that he'll be going to Germany, and Fortuna Dusseldorf are very interested in acquiring Zach Steffen on loan. And if you look at articles from last year, I think it was BBC, Guardian, one of the two, they surmised that Zach Steffen would never play for City. He'd come in, go out on loan for a year or two, and then we'd sell him. Once Europe can see what he's like, I think there's some. Hi, Kobe, how you doing, buddy? So that's my feeling. There's players City get that will never play for City, and there is no intention of them playing for City. For instance, we got Enes Unal, a Turkish kid, for about 2 million quid. He went out on loan in, I think, NEC Breda in Holland. I think it was there for a year. And then he did really, really well. And then we sold him. We sold him for about 12 million quid, I think, to someone in Spain. But that was the idea. He was never going to stay a long time. Aaron Moy, okay? Aaron Moy, we bought from, we bought Aaron Moy, basically transferred him from our sister club, Melbourne FC. Now, City bought Melbourne FC for about 2 or 3 million quid, something like that. Very, very small amount of money, peanuts. But we transferred Aaron Moy to City, and we sent him out on loan to Huddersfield Town when they were in the Championship, and they got promotion, and they bought Aaron Moy for about 10 or 12 million quid. So we made about 8. In fact, we made such a big profit on Aaron Moy. It was a lot more than we actually paid to buy his club and his contract in the first place. So it's crazy. So that's the way City do it. So I actually see Zach Steffen coming in to City. We've seen the potential. I think what you're looking at and what City will look at is a player who's valued at whatever amount of money, and they can see the potential for that player in a year or two's time for their value to really sky in 12 million. So Zach Steffen could come in. I can't remember what we paid, but he could be sold for in a year or two for 15 million quid. If he's as good as City feel, then that could easily happen. So yeah, that's the situation. I'm kind of thinking that we're going to have number one is going to be obviously Ederson. Number two is going to be Bravo. Number three will be another young keeper who will come through. Maybe Danny Grimshaw will go out on loan, and someone else will come through. The kid from Ireland, Bazunu. Oh, forgot his name now. The young kid, Benufo. I'll remember his name in a minute. But he came. So Bazunu. That's it. Bazunu. I remember his name. So maybe him. Mukund, there were reports last season about City wanting to buy Mumbai FC. That would put me on the spot. I spot Goa. Come on, City buy Goa. I think they won't buy Goa. I think City could buy Mumbai City FC. Straight away, you got MCFC. I put it out there last year that City might be interested in the Kerala Blasters because there was a tournament last summer and in India. You had the Kerala Blasters, Melbourne City FC, and Girona were in that tournament. And Melbourne City and Girona are City football group clubs, the part of the Man City group. So I thought maybe that's a precursor to City buying Kerala. It might just be that City wanted a tournament in India to promote themselves and spend a bit of time there. So we'll see. It'll be very interesting, but something's going to happen. Thierry Ambrose. Gabriel's asking about Thierry Ambrose. I like Thierry Ambrose. He was playing at Lens last season, and I had a little bit of interaction with him on Twitter. He's a nice guy. He's putting out some nice social media stuff, and he looks like a happy-go-lucky guy. Always a big smile on his face, and really, really wants to achieve. He really works hard, and I want the best for Thierry Ambrose. If I was to go out to any games in France, Lens is where I'd like to go, because Lens, if I remember correctly, the stadium is bigger. There are more seats at the stadium than there are in the town, and people come from all over northern France. And Lens is their club. Lens is the big club in the region. Amiens, I think, did all right last season or season before, so they're up in the north as well. But Lens, yeah, people go to Lens. I've got a couple of Lens shirts, and so they have. I think these are numbers from years back, so I might be wrong. But I think Lens get about 40 or 50,000 in the stadium, and this whole town it has only a population of about 30,000, something, of that order. So you get more people in the stadium than actually live there. So it's very interesting with Lens. Let's go through some of your comments. Cobby, why is it taking so long to make up his mind? I guess you're talking about Rodri. All right, there you go. Rodri, that is. No idea. Absolute no idea. It may be that, he's pretty much agreed a deal with City, but it might be that someone else has come in and offering him more money or trying to outdo City, like United, come and trying to gazump us. I just don't know what the reasons are. As I said yesterday and previously, I expected some early signings, but not until the Nations League and the internationals were over. So if people are playing, for whichever country in the Nations League, then I don't expect us to be any transfer dealings to be done with those players. And with the European qualifiers, that's been taking place as well. So I expect it to be after that. So fingers crossed we'll get some movement next week. As I said yesterday and in the past, I want players to be in City early so they can get used to the weather. Maybe eye opener for them to start getting used to the language if they need to start getting classes to speak English, start getting used to being in England, start getting used to Manchester, living in a new place, and then when the when the pre-season starts, they're there on day one. They've got some experience behind them, rather than turning up 2 or 3 days beforehand, living in a hotel, living without the family, and not speaking English, not knowing anything about Manchester. If the weather's crap like it is at the moment, they've got all that to deal with at once. I want them just to have a little bit to deal with at once, which is focusing on football, making new mates with your teammates. I want them to be able to focus on football. Cheers, Bananism. Even though people say these are $5 shades or the Ray-Bans, these are Gucci. I don't know if you can see from the side, but when I used to buy brand names and stuff years ago, I don't really do that anymore. Money's not too tight to mention, as Simply Red would say, but money's not the thing I chase. You want a reasonable standard of living, a reasonable income, but I'm not out there chasing money, and I don't think there's any benefit to do that. I want to be happy with my life, and money doesn't automatically guarantee happiness. So do things that make you happy instead. Everyone's on holiday. That may well take this time. Possible English Mastiff. Mukund, you mean from Lyon? I'm trying to work out what you mean by that. Mukund from Lyon. The fella from Lyon that we're looking at is Tanguy Ndombele. If we don't get Rodri, that's another option. And my friend, who's a scout in France, in Lyon, he said to me that City last year apparently bid about 40 million euros or 40 million quid for Tanguy Ndombele. That's last summer. And Lyon said no, because he knew what talent they had on their hands. It's the same way I think City bid for Mbappe when he was 17. I think they were offering about 30 million, and Monaco said no because they knew what talent they had on their hands. It's City want to get in early and get these talents in early. So be interesting. I think fingers crossed we'll get either Rodri or Ndombele. Kobe, is it time to move on from him? We don't want to have another Jorginho saga, or our other options like Ndombele maybe signing for other teams if we don't be faster. Well, if Spurs are offering 40 or 50 million quid, he ain't going to be signing for them. Lyon know his value. If City were offering 40 million last summer, why would they let Spurs add him for 40 or 50 million now when his stock is so much higher? I'm happy to give it a week or two and let's see what happens. Possibly Mukun. We just don't know whether Rodri wants to stay in Spain, whether he's seeing will Barcelona come in for him. If he doesn't want to move across the city to Real, then where else can he go? There's only Barcelona left because everybody else is a step down. Sky Blue, was it maybe something to do with Atletico rather than Rodri? As I read, they were trying to offer him a hefty pay rise to stay. Absolutely, Sky Blue. Rodri will look at it and say, I'm in one of the best three teams in Spain. I can stay where I am. Someone offers me a lot more money. Sometimes you can push your ambition to one side because you might be happy with what you already know. Yeah, better the devil you already know. And the grass isn't always greener on the other side. These proverbs, cliches, phrases, and it might just be offer him 50 grand a week extra, and he'll stay where he is. Maybe that's what he'll be happy with that. Football fan chat. Hi, sorry I'm late. The Streamlabs and Google. I haven't tried it, mate. Honestly, I'll tell you what happened. I was out working today. I was doing a show for somebody. And they booked me, and I was supposed to finish at 3:30, and I would never have got back by 4. So I stayed a bit longer because the weather was atrocious, and I wanted to give them a little bit more time because that rain caused a lot of trouble, and there were a lot of kids there. So I thought I'll give them an extra 5 or 10 minutes, and then driving back, the weather's been absolutely terrible. So I only just got in, dumped my stuff, had a quick drink, and then got onto this. So I haven't really had the time. But I really want to get them sorted. So I will, honestly. Cheers for I'm looking smart. Yeah, well, I do look smart when I go out to work. I'm a professional person in the past. I used to be an accountant, chartered tax advisor. So yeah, you'd go out, I had a lot of, still got a lot of smart shirts and ties and suits and shoes and whatever. And I dress up because some of the work I do, you got to look smart, and I like looking smart when I'm in the mood for it. JG19, just tuned in. What have you talked about so far? Really, we've just been answering questions. We talked a little about Rodri and Ndombele and why we haven't got Rodri so far. And we talked about the goalkeeping situation at City. So I'll give you a very quick summary that we expect Ederson to stay. I expect Bravo to come back as number 2. Muric to go out on loan, possibly to Nottingham Forest. We're very interested. Steffen, who we got in December, we agreed to buy him from Columbus Crew in the MLS. He's 24 years old, so I expect him to go out on loan, never to play for Man City. But he might do. He might go out on loan for a season somewhere. And the rumours are he's going to go to Fortuna Dusseldorf in Germany. He might go out there for a season and then come back as number 2 when Claudio Bravo's contract finishes next season. And maybe... And the lad we got from Ireland, Bazunu, maybe he will be the third choice keeper and play with the EDS as well. So Mukund, let's go through your comments. I'm always suspicious when players from sunny environments are like linked to us. And there's a lot of it that goes on, and it's just to get a better contract for themselves. At least the elephant in the room is dead and now. Yeah, for the time being, I'm sure that story will rear its head up again at some point in the future. But for now, let's move on. Cobby, also we don't Maguire anything higher than 55, 60 million quid. If Leicester are holding up for high, we should be looking at other options. Yeah, I don't want to pay that much money for Maguire. Whilst he may be good, I'd rather pay the money for Matthijs de Ligt instead. If we can sort out this issue with his apparent demands for €300,000 a week contract, we're not going to pay that. But he's my man. I don't want to pay more than 55, 60 million. That's right. Yeah, don't worry about football fan chat. Feel free. You guys can ask me almost anything. Lucas Torreira from Arsenal gave an interview in which he mentioned how much of a culture shock the weather is. Yeah, and if you're coming from, I don't know where Lucas came from, you come from Italy or Spain or Portugal, it's a shock. I mean, who would expect it's middle of June and we're at about 13 degrees? JG19, do you have any plans for doing the giveaways? Absolutely, JG19. We'll do something when we get 1,000 subs. We'll probably work out what we'll do. And I will be honest with you guys, okay? Some have benefited and some haven't from elsewhere. When you're doing when you want to look at your subscribers, I believe, so as far as I'm aware, you can only look at so many that have subscribed in the recent past. When I did a shout out yesterday or a couple of days ago, I did a shout out of about 80, 90 people, and those were the last 80, 90 that had subscribed to the channel, and that's all that that YouTube had showed me. So I'm going to have to do something. I want to shout out. I want a prize draw where it's fair and it's not it's done in such a way that we can include everybody. Okay, if YouTube is only showing me the last 70 or 80 or 100 subscribers, then what's going to happen to the other 900? They're going to be left out of the loop. So some of you have missed out in the past because you were not entering in competitions. So that's what I want to do. I want to find a way to either list everybody or give you a date and time, and then maybe do something like whoever comes on a live stream will be entered into a draw, and it might be over 5 days. I might say, or 7 days, to give everybody a chance. If you log on to a live stream between Monday and Sunday, okay, then your name will be entered into a hat for the prize draw. I mean, there's one thing that I've got at the moment that I was thinking to give away, and that's a jacket, Man City jacket, never worn it, and it's signed by Mike Summerby. I've got to go and see what he signed, because as long as it's not signed it to me, but I've got this jacket signed by Mike Summerby. Now, it must be worth over 100 quid. You know, the jacket on its own, without the signature, was worth plenty of money. It's quite a thin jacket, but it's a City jacket. So I think they used to wear them a few years ago when they were going out to train. Now it's all changed, but I think it's one of those jackets that they go out to wear on top of their kit whilst we're warming up. Gabriel 33, why Liverpool fans so delusional and arrogant? What it is, as people say, it's a cult. Now, what happens is when you get into a cult, you do what the cult says. Okay, so for argument's sake, if you got a few thousand followers on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, a lot of them will just follow the individual regardless. Okay, whether they make mistakes, whether they're rotten, whether they're horrible, whether they're great, they will just follow them. And it's the same thing. Once you get into the Liverpool thing, it's like you can't speak out against that cult of Liverpool because you'll be a pariah, you'll be shot at, you put your head out, put your neck on the block. So people just go along with the same, and they just carry on the same. Football fan chat, already 300 subs, 1,360 as well. To be honest, I got 130 the first day, and the next 2 days I got about 60 or 70. So in the last, I've been on, I think 7 days now. The last 4 days I've got 100, which I'm really happy about. Mukund, can we not just sell Bravo? He's just going to make me very nervous. Yeah, but Mukund is hardly ever going to play, and he's better off in the cups. He doesn't make me nervous anymore, actually. As a backup keeper, he doesn't make me nervous anymore. Football fan chat, top 5 Man City managers in all time. Oh, you ask me all that question. I mean, you got to put Mancini there, okay? For what they've achieved, that I can remember, it's going to be more that I can remember. I think that's so. Mancini's got to be there. Obviously, he got us our first trophy in 34 years. He stood toe to toe with Ferguson. Pellegrini, for that first season, scoring that many goals, winning the Premier League in his first season in England, winning the Carabao Cup, or the League Cup, Capital One Cup as it was then. Got to put him. Obviously, Pep, Malcolm Allison, and stroke Tony Buck. And then it's a toss-up between Keegan and Royal for number 5 for me. Bravo number 2, just about sums him up. Number 2's come on, Sky Blue Walls. He's not that bad. I actually quite like him as a number 2. A football fan, you can look at people who subscribe and have their subscription public. Yeah, that's absolutely right. But when I can't find a list of all the 300 subscribers that are public. I can't find that. So only the public ones. And I don't think I've got 100 subscribers who are public and 200 are not. Mark, hey Mark, how you doing, buddy? Hearing rumors that Rodri's close and Delict is showing an interest in City. Well, Mark, look, it's all rumours and conjecture, and we just don't know. I'm hoping that we get either Rodri or London Bailey. I don't mind which. Delict is my man for a defender. I really want him because he's a leader. He's a top class player already, and he's only 19. He's only going to get better and better and better. Can you do a giveaway which everyone will want in case you pick? Yeah, look, I'll intend to do a few giveaways. Last season, I give away a shirt. I think people would still want it. It's a Man City champion shirt signed by Pep Guardiola. Who wouldn't want that? But I'll be looking at stuff that I've got that is football related that I can give away to you guys. I've got loads of memorabilia. Loads, but obviously mostly Man City stuff. I got loads of stuff. Got PSG stuff as well, bits and pieces. But that's because obviously we lived in Paris, and my cousin used to buy. Sorry, my brother-in-law used to buy stuff for my kids. So I've got PSG ball. I've got and I did some charity work over there as well. So I think I got football signed by Mamadou Sakho, French. I think it was a French World Cup winner. So I did some work for his voluntary work for his foundation in France. So I got a signed football from him. Football fan, whereabouts did you grow up and whereabouts do you live now? I grew up in Oldham and I live near Rochdale now, but I've been all over. Joe Mercer, English master, actually, I forgot, probably just a little bit before my time, but good shout. I used to live, I've said this before, but I'll quickly say, I used to live in Guildford, Liverpool, Tooting, Hayes, which is near Uxbridge, France. I lived in Paris for 8 or 9 years, 10 years, whatever. Leeds, Huddersfield, maybe 1 or 2 other places, but those are the ones that immediately I can remember. And I lived in Newell as well, which is near Epsom. It's tough for me between Mancini and Pep. For me, Mukunda, it's Pep now. I mean, Mancini, they're different. They're different for what they did. Hi, Spencer and Mark. I hope you're doing well. Big chat. Ederson was all right. Yeah, Ederson was all right. I liked having Ederson with there. He's a sly old dog, Sven. And, he just used to nudge him. Like Sven, he's going out with so-and-so and so-and-so. And he's our manager. He was a bit of a rascal, but you loved him. English Mastiff, Joe Mercer was manager. Malcolm Allison was his number 2. Sorry. Before Big Mal took over. Big Mal, I think he was a bit lucky as well. He was a large-than-life character. You know your history well there, English Mastiff. My history is now, when I was a kid, I used to know everything. And now, I'm in my 50s, it's getting a bit hazy. Sadly, I have to admit that. Mark, boy, if we did get Delict, if we can get Delict, I mean, if Stonesy can sort himself out, Stonesy, Delict, Laporte, Garcia, unbelievable. I mean, that'll sort us out. If Garcia and Delict, they could be there for the next. Remember, Delict is 19, so he could be there for 15 years. Garcia is 18, he could be there for 15 years. Stones is 25, he could be there for 7 or 8 years. So, and same as Laporte. So we've got enough. 10 years we sorted. Skyblood. So my opinion is that bad last season was his best. No, I don't mind him. Big chat says Pep, Mancini, Joe Mercer, Tony Buck, Pellegrini. Yep, it's hard to argue. Some top managers there. English Mastiff, don't think we're in for Delict realistic, but not within our budget. I think the transfer fees within our budget. It's paying his agent and paying 300 grand a week for his wages is what our issue is. It's within our budget. Our budget is not a problem. But what City don't want to do is mess about with the pace system. We've got that sorted out. And we're not paying, he'll be getting paid as basic more than KDB. That's just not on. Happy for people to get massive bonuses and a decent salary as well, but base it on the bonuses. How was Liverpool's transfer? I actually love Liverpool. I had a fantastic time. It may have been, obviously, I was a university there, and you know, it was let loose on Liverpool. I had an absolute ball, but I think I'd have had a ball wherever I went. But I love Liverpool. You know, I've got that soft spot for them. I was there when you know, for Hillsborough, and so you know, you have a bond with the city. I might not like Liverpool fans, but I have a bond with the city. Cobby, what do you think about the fixtures race? Some tough back-to-back games around the holiday period. Absolutely, Cobby. I did a couple of videos on that. But hey, we've got to play all the games, and we managed to play a game every 3 or 4 days this season, and still won 30 games in the league. Still won the League Cup, still won the FA Cup, and still progressed quite well in the Champions League. If a bit sad that the way we got beat and got knocked out a little bit earlier than we should have done. So I look at all that and I say we can handle whatever's thrown at us. English Master Big Mel died here in a home. Yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of ex-City players still live in the area, you know, especially at the time when the money wasn't so massive. And you got someone like Richard Dunny. Dunny lives out in Monaco, so he's got a bit of brass. So at the time when the money wasn't really massive in relation to what other people were earning, those guys still live around, a lot of them live around Manchester. Spencer Mark, do you think they will have the best chance of getting delit with VVD? They've got a good chance, but they're going to have to put up the money. They're going to have to stump up the money. If Mino Raiola is driving things, he's going to go where he can get the most money for himself and the most money for his client. If Delict is looking where he's going to play the best football or develop the best, win the most trophies or have the potential to win most trophies, he's got to look at City. Best manager in the world in Pep. And we won 5 out of the last 6 trophies in domestically. Okay, Champions League, we haven't really done it. But that's the next level. But he knows he'll win trophies at home. He knows he's got a very good chance to win trophies in Europe. He knows he's going to develop under Pep, the best manager in the world. What's not to like at being at City? Yeah, wages. Big chat. Big man was good, but he shouldn't have come back. Yeah, he shouldn't have come back because he tried to do it again. He tried to buy players who weren't, you know, no one had heard of, and think, yeah, and sprinkle his magic dust on them. Was it Steve Daly? He got some players that were absolute ponies. JG99, now you talked about buying home tickets. Yeah, buying home tickets. Obviously, I think City have got. I'll do that now. I think City have got 40,000 season card holders. Stadium holds roughly 55,000, and out of that, you'll get at least I think 3,000 will go to the away team. When it's if it's a Champions League game, we have to give UEFA tickets as well. So we might only have a potential to sell 50,000. So we sell about 52,000 tickets ourselves. Some we can't sell because of segregation, because obviously we've got the away fans in the south stand, and then you've got to have some space whether you've got stewards or coppers, depending on the teams. I think some games we have more space and more segregation between the home fans and the away fans. You know, when you're playing Liverpool or United, you need that. When you're playing someone like Brighton, you don't need that. They might only be bringing a few hundred fans up themselves, so you don't need the same level of segregation and stewardship and stewarding and police. So you might be able to have a few more City fans there. So at the beginning of every season, obviously we got season cards. Right now, there's I think the reallocations are taking place. City offer some of the best value in the country. Yeah. The value season cards are only £299 each. £299 to watch 19 league games. Yeah, 19. Imagine how much is that costing you? £14.50. It's less, 15 quid a ticket. I will work that out. £14.62 off the top of my head. Let's see how close I am to that. So 299 divided by 19. 15.73. Sorry, I was a pound out. My apologies. I was a pound out. So it's costing less than 16 quid a ticket. Now, if you don't buy a season card, they can become quite expensive. You're looking at, the category C, I think they call, or C game, which let's say the less popular position. You're still paying 40, 45 quid for a ticket. So if you can squeeze it to get a season card, that's brilliant. And the other way to buy tickets, you need to be a Citizens member. So you need to have a Citizens card. If you've not got a season card, if you get a Citizens card, my son used to have, and I think quid, which gets them doing that if you buy a ticket. Now, if I remember correctly, at some point at the start of the season, or maybe before the start of the season, City did this last year. Okay, they put all the tickets for all the games on sale. So it wasn't, just a 2 or 3 week window. I think they put all the tickets for throughout the season on sale. So the big games went very quickly, like United, Liverpool, the Leicester game, the last home game of the season, that went quickly. So a lot of games go very quickly. If you want to buy tickets, if you're not a season card holder, if you get on a season card waiting list, get on. If you can't do that, get a citizens card so you can occasionally buy tickets. And if you are struggling, give us a shout. I can get tickets for smaller games. I have 3 season cards, which is what I had last season. So I had 3 season cards, myself and my kids. And when we invited people like Mike Long from Bolt from the Blue, he used one of my season cards to watch a game against Chelsea when we won 6-0. So we'd invite people to come to the games. Rusky he came to a game. Rusky's from, he's on Twitter. Virginia Blues, he came from America. He couldn't get a Champions League ticket, I think, and he went to a game using one of my season cards. So I'll always generally have a spare ticket, and sometimes it just depends who gets in first. Jamal, who came from, he's an Algerian guy living in Abu Dhabi. He came to the Liverpool game with us, and he's a really nice guy. Let's have a quick look, look at your comments. Yes, Sky Blue are still giving Bravo a bashing. Is there a run to break the season? I don't think so, Mukund. English Master of News reckon we more or less Joe. And I'm still. I said this a few days ago. I don't want Danilo to go. I said this yesterday when there was rumours that the Inter deal would collapse. I don't want Danilo to leave. I'd like him to stay and be a backup. And look at Danilo's last 4 seasons. If I'm right, Danilo's last 4 seasons: Real Madrid, Champions League winner; Real Madrid, Champions League winner; Man City, Premier League winner and Carabao Cup winner; Man City, Premier League winner, Community Shield winner, Carabao Cup winner, FA Cup winner. Go to Inter, you're not going to get that sort of thing. The only reason to go is to get more first-team football. But for me, and as I said yesterday, Danilo's a great player. Left back doesn't let you down. Right back doesn't let you down. Centre back doesn't let you down. Defensive midfielder doesn't let you down. He might not be first choice in any of those positions, but as a backup, he's top draw. Scabulous went to an even with Peter Barnes. He absolutely hated Ederson, so did Gary Owen. Yes, this is the thing. Some people hate players, managers, and some love them. Look at Peter Swales. Most people hated Peter Swales, but David White said Peter Swales was good to him. So that's the thing. So he was good to him. So that's the only relationship he can, talk about. Spencer and Mark, a shame that City's on the wing. I loved it. I would love to play like him. Mark Manson loves City, but he was a Marmot type guy, absolutely English Mastiff. But you do get that with managers. You look, absolutely you do get that. Mukund, if you could have just one player amongst the ones linked to us, who would you have? De Ligt, Felix, and Bailey, Rodri, others. Okay. For me, I want 2 of them. I'm greedy because I want 2 players. I want De Ligt and Ndombele. And if I was to pick one, it's very hard. Very hard. Right now, we can get by without De Ligt because we've got Laporte and Stonesy, Otamendi, and Garcia coming through. But we can't get by without another quality defensive midfielder. So I'd probably like English Mastiff. I'll go Ndombele. Spencer Mark, De Ligt for you. Fair dues. And Mark Bose wants a De Ligt, English Mastiff, and Ndombele is like Yala. Yeah, I said that. I said he's better. He can be better than Yaya because he can be box to box. And the difference between Ndombele and Yaya is Ndombele will work his socks off. He'll put the boot in, which sadly Yaya, to his detriment, was not willing to do. Okay, he wasn't enough of a defensive player when we needed him to defend. You could see him casually defending. And what I mean by that is when someone's half-hearted and he can say, no, I did try and chase him on tackle. He's not around or do what was required. Or sometimes he can be easily fooled and let someone past him. Oh yeah, he did, and say he did a trick on me and he fooled me. I sent it the wrong way. But you can sometimes, I feel when people are lazy about it. So Ndombele can do, I think, everything Yaya could do and maybe a little bit more. He's still young. He's still got time to develop. Mukund, Felix for me, each of them. JG Nathan, did Andy go? You used to go with you? Yeah, Andy used to go with me. He used to do one of my season cards. So they're all my season cards. And yeah, he used to go with me using my season cards. English Mastiff, Danilo for me as well. Yeah, I'd keep Danilo. Spencer, we need a top centre. We've already got one in the pot. Mukund, okay, here's who needs one. One player you'd get rid of. I would get rid of Eliakim Mangala. That's an easy one, really easy, because the Mango has got to go. Then Matt Baldwin is a top player who is still only 28. I think he deserves more. I do too. I mean, last season when Walker was struggling for consistency and quality, I was glad Danilo was fit and Danilo went in. And in fact, I said at that point, Danilo was, for me, a better option than Walker. Then Walker seemed to get it together, but he still makes mistakes. So it really depends what you want to do. If you want a right back for a game that's just purely concerned about defending, maybe Danilo's your man. If you need your right back to be rampaging forward, then maybe Walker's your man. Mark Hughes, Mukund, I tell you what, Mukund, you're very close to being timed out. I've never timed out anybody or banned anybody from this channel. And Mukund, you're the closest to being timed out for mentioning Mark Hughes, because most City fans really don't like the guy. Sky Blue, it was to do with the fact that Alisson told Barnes and Owen, both City boys, that they were to be sold against the wishes. Absolutely. Gary Owen, I think, was really upset, especially to be sold by City. And they went on to have carried on have decent careers. Since 2008, who's been your worst buy? Oh man, it could be Rocky Santa Cruz off the top of my head. Did we buy Danny Mills before 2008? I think we did. Rocky Santa Cruz, because yeah, off the top of my head. Sky Blue Walls, he's in there with Bravo. He's really got a thing against Bravo at the moment, as Sky Blue Walls. Spencer and Mark, I hope you guys are still friends. I detect a bit of animosity between you two. All the streams going down. Spencer and Mark, we can't be friends, okay? And for that, I was quite. For that, I'll put our differences aside, okay? And for the channel, I would work hard for the channel. But no, I think without going once again into too much detail, for what happened and how it went down, that was the end. Whilst we could discuss the taping, the Skype video recording of Rabin without his permission and everything else to do with Rabin and his tweets and whatever. There's other stuff, and that I just wasn't happy with. There's other stuff that happened at that time. Andy says he doesn't know. That's his prerogative to say he doesn't know, okay? But we did have a conversation. Maybe one day he'll be happy to let the WhatsApp messages out, release the WhatsApp messages from when Andy told me he was going to Skype with Rabin. Yeah, Saturday afternoon, Andy said, I'm going to Skype with Rabin in 20 minutes. Release all the WhatsApp messages, post that. Yeah, we'll see. Mark, but yeah, I'll try and be online. I don't know what time, because I'm going to go to my mum's house. My brother's been, both my brothers are doctors, and one's been out in Turkey. Does a lot of work in Turkey with the refugees. Does a lot of operations out there. So he's just been out there, and it's the first time I'll see him since he's been back. So I've not seen him for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I've not seen his kids for a couple of weeks. So, I think if the weather relents, we can have a barbecue. And believe in you and me, I love a barbecue. Absolutely love a barbecue. So I'm going to try for tomorrow. I'm going to try and do some exercise, go for a run, which I've been struggling to do, and then go down the gym. So I'm going to, fingers crossed, I'm going to be starving when I turn up for this barbecue, because, you give me burgers and kebabs and stuff, and I'll keep and going and going and going. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I'll just keep doing as much as I can, and as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing. With you guys, it's a fun, it's a pleasure. With the fans I would meet at matches, it was fun generally, and it was a pleasure going to all those away games throughout the season. I went to loads. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'll tell you which away games I went to that I can remember. Mark, but I'm vegan, so barbecue, I think of. Well, you see, you can. Look, these days you can barbecue the mushrooms, these big mushrooms. There's a fella I saw on TV where they were, and he'd done it in such a way, and it has to be the right mushroom cooked in the right way, and he kind of squashed them all together. And someone had it and said it's just like steak. Best top 3 City goals: Ray, what's yours? Dennis Stewart, Dickov, Aguero. Wow. For quality, not sure for quality, but for what they meant, Dickov and Aguero have got to be there. Without Dickov, we wouldn't have had Aguero. Without Aguero, we'd have been crying still. Third one, I remember the Stewart one. I mean, Matt Stewart will be up there for me because it's one that I remember. I'd only been supporting City for 2 or 3 years. I was 8 years old when he scored that overhead kick in the. But a lot of different goals give you different emotions. I thought you held your own, Spencer Markley, but that's one as well. Every time I walked away, it was a longer interview than I think actually went out online. And those guys, it's quite funny because every time I walked away, they came back and asked for more. They were like gluttons for punishment, and they couldn't accept what I said as that's the truth, because this is people are deluded and think they know about City fans, and they use that to batter us. But hey, I said the truth. Most City fans would prefer to win the Premier League above the Champions League. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Sky Blue was more. So I forgot the thing I was talking about, Andy, probably, but maybe it's just as well. We move on. Matt McHenry, the family wouldn't have that. Might do mine separately if the weather allows us to have one. Yeah, I used to do barbecues with mates, and I'd cook my food separately. It's just the way it is. I read in the Guardian once that they were using jackfruit. I think it meant jackfruit, Mukund, as a subject for me over there. Jackfruit. But mushrooms have got that. The right kind of mushrooms have got the right texture, the right chewiness, and the right meaty flavour. I'm not sure about jackfruit. Not sure about jackfruit. That's all. I'm gonna have to listen to this stream back to see where I lost my thread. But as I said, if it's about Andy and Man City Fan TV, maybe just as well. We move forward, guys. I'm just thinking. I'm up to almost an hour. I've got to go and pick my family up from the travel. They look like Liam Gallagher when he had long hair, or so my wife, something like that. Can tell she's from Paris and not Manchester, and then go out for something to eat. So Muckles and the jackfruits are all rotting here in the garden. No one wants to take them away. Wow. I've got a mate in Malaysia. He's got a jackfruit plantation, do you call it? Yeah, the one I think I never had in Malaysia when I went was the durian, the king of fruits, the durian. And I'll tell you a quick story. My wife, wife used to work in Malaysia. Now the durian is called the king of fruits. And it's a Marmite type fruit. You either love it or you hate it. But it stinks like crazy. It stinks like crazy. And on some airlines, they say you can't bring the durian. A lot of places say you cannot bring durian in here. Now, my wife was gifted on the first day of work in Malaysia a durian. So it's a gift for joining, a welcoming gift. And so she put it under her desk and carried on with her work. And she forgot. Nobody wants to go in and work. And what had happened, obviously, she'd left this durian overnight under her desk, and the smell had gone everywhere in the office. And basically, they had to evacuate the office for the day because it was stinking that much. So I've never tried a durian. We'll see what that's like one day next time we're in Malaysia. Matt Bo got me going now, Ray, on veganism. Favourite meal is black beans, rice, mushrooms, and curry. I like black beans, black-eyed beans, or what do you call them? I'm just checking if my wife's left any of these black beans. We got these black beans. I like chickpeas, black beans, black-eyed beans, and stuff like that. Pulses are great. Whether you're a vegan or not, pulses are fantastic because very little fat, a lot of protein, fiber, and stuff. It's really, really good for you. You want to eat peas, beans, lentils. It was a thing I remember from school. It was a little song, but it was peas, beans, lentils, nuts and cereals. That's what you want to be eating. That's really good with fiber and proteins and stuff. It's really good for you. King of fruits is the mangala, the mango. Oh, mangoes are great, Mukund. Mangoes are great. I can tell you stories about that. Pakistani mangoes are supposed to be the best in the world. And I remember they sent some to China, and they were used. There's a really good story about the mangoes they sent to China for diplomatic things. Sent a couple of crates, and they didn't. I don't think they had them or had anything like that. And they were actually sending them. I think they send them out to governors or different provinces. These mangoes that were gifted by the president or prime minister of Pakistan or whatever, and they were like trophies. They were like trophies. These mangoes. 12:45 a.m. Good night and enjoy barbecue. Hey, Oz, you have a good one, buddy. Absolute pleasure to have you on board. I'm glad you took the time out to get on board. Guys, I got to shoot. I was supposed to pick my missus up at 6 o'clock. It's 5:45. It'll take me 35, 40 minutes to get there. I don't think my kids mentions Mahrez. You want to talk Mahrez? So why don't we sell Mahrez? I'm pretty certain selling him would ease Sané's concern of plenty. No, it wouldn't. The thing with Sané is it's not the fact that Mahrez is there doesn't influence or affect Sané's playing time. It's Sané's attitude, allegedly, or other issues. He's not doing what he's been told to do. Okay? When Mahrez came, in fact, for the last 5 or 6 months of the season, Mahrez hardly started a game in the league. He's played the cup games. He wasn't starting in the league, okay, since I think sometime in December. Sané, his stock is much higher than Mahrez's. So I don't think there's any problem with Mahrez affecting Sané. Okay, Sané's problems are to do with Leroy Sané. Mukund, no. The Goan Mankurad is the best. Don't anyone tell you indifferent. Matt, but anyway, great. Yeah, Matt, fantastic, you guys. Keep Mahrez here. Pep said he's going nowhere. And yeah, you're right. Spencer and Matt could be much better this season. Yeah, I mean, I hope he is. I mean, he was a excellent player for Leicester. He won Player of the Season, and so I hope he can get back to that level of form. But it's good. He does put pressure on players. I said this last season as well. He'll put pressure on Raheem Sterling and Sané, and Raheem Sterling stepped up. He stepped up. Sané, I thought, was stepping up, but he's fallen off a cliff. So we'll see what happens. Cameron, can we deploy Sané on the GIF guess you're meaning right once in a while and Schipanada behind the striker. Well, Cameron, actually, I like the idea. We've seen Sané play on the right for Germany. He's played on the right once or twice for City. I think he scored a goal against I can't remember now, a far corner in a 4 or 5-0 win. Was it last season? Coming in, cutting him from the right. We can play Leroy on the right and Sterling on the left, and Bernardo can play in that 3 with either David or KDB and a defensive midfielder in midfield. Mukund, if Mahrez goes, what will we talk about? Yeah, we'll have an answer to talk about. Where are you from, Cameron? I just want to know before I leave, where you're from, Cameron. Topman, have a good evening. Yeah, Spencer and Mark, have a good evening, guys. Great to have you on board. It's an hour's flown by. I thought there's nothing to talk about. I'll chat for an hour and that's it. Chris, we're going, mate. Yeah, I came on a little bit late today and we're off. It's been an hour. I thought we'll do half an hour. And you guys have been wonderful. It's been a fun chat. I'm enjoying these chats. Adam, love the stream, mate. I don't remember you saying anything, Adam, but guys just lived a bit. Yeah, Mukund, I'm going for a paddle. No, I think it stopped raining. But I better shoot because otherwise getting a parking spot in my stomach's rumbling. I missed a meal today, so I'm ready for a triple kebab tonight, something like that. Guys, take care. See you later in English Mastiff. You guys look after yourselves, have fun. Remember, live streams, once we've done the main things to talk about. All right, shame, Adam, shame. Hopefully you can get that sorted. But yeah, once we've done remember, I want to focus on the topics under discussion. Then we'll talk about anything. Yeah, anything, almost anything at all. And it's always fun. So you take care, guys, and we'll see you soon.